Hi, and welcome back to the Happy Accidental Gardener channel. My name is Estelle, and I am your Happy Accidental Gardener. If you've been here before, thank you so much for coming back. If you've never been here before, welcome. We've got a few things on the schedule today, some cleanup, some planting, some repotting. All in all, just a general outside Saturday, getting stuff done in the garden. Let's get started. Now is certainly the time if there are perennials that you want to scope out, things that you want to try. Check your local nurseries, even your big box stores. There's a lot of stuff that is on the sale rack. I am a fan of rescuing plants and try to keep them alive, especially if you don't know how it's going to go. Why pay full price when you can pay a little less and give it a shot? I mean, I have some plants that I spent $1, $2, $5 on that have turned out beautifully, and I am happy with the results. So definitely, if there's something you want to try and you see it on the manager special rack, give it a shot. Here we have some new Dimension Salvia. I got these off the manager special rack. They were actually larger when I bought them. They had been damaged by Hurricane Ida, or the remnants of Hurricane Ida that hit the East Coast. And I cut back the larger stems that were dying, and the plant renewed itself. The plant was still alive. It's just that the larger stems were dying and the plant renewed itself. So I'll be putting this in my flower beds. Here are some sedum plants, again, found on the manager special bin. That's Thundercloud. And this one is called, I forget what this one is called. Autumn Fire. This one gets about 18 inches tall, and as you can see, the flowers on this one are starting to turn red, which will be gorgeous in the fall. And this one, I think it's about 12 inches high. It's a mounding plant, but it also flowers beautifully. And it's a sedum that can survive the winter in zone 7A, so I'll definitely be putting that in my yard. And these, instead of being $8 or $9 a plant, were like $2 each. So the manager special bin, definitely, if there's something you want to try, something you're not sure about, buy it on the cheap. Give it a chance. So this is my flower bed. I probably should have trimmed my mums back a little more before they started blooming. This one is actually kind of falling apart under its own weight. I've got another small mum back there that just hasn't gotten as big as these three in the front. It has been, so far, a warm autumn. So my summer flowers are still in bloom. My daylilies need to be cleaned up. I probably need to split those. I don't know if I think I'm going to wait until the spring and then offer some of the roots, some of the fans, as daylily roots are called, some of those fans to the folks in my garden group. I've got salvia in the back. I've got some red begonia down there. They're not doing so well on this side, but they look pretty good on this side. I've got some coneflower in there blooming. It's really pretty, but definitely got to clean all this up. Irises, bearded irises back there. I might get some more bearded iris rhizomes. We'll see what happens. And this is the other side. Again, this one is splitting under its own weight. All the mums on this side have bloomed. This was a snapdragon. It has since died back. There's a dianthus down there. I'll probably pull that out and put a sedum in there maybe. White cloud catmint back there. Still, everything is still blooming. The weather has been really great. So aside from cleaning up, I'm not pulling anything out unless, of course, it's dead like that. And trying to figure out where I'm going to be putting my new plants. It's always interesting to me. Same flower gardens, right? I always put the same flowers on each side. And it's always interesting to me to see what takes over. On this side, celosia just exploded. And on this side, I want to say those are zinnias. On this side, it's the zinnias that got really big. Although the celosia did spread, they did not take over on like they did on the other side. We've got some, I believe those are Shasta daisies back there. I mean, it's always amazing to me. You can put in the same plant and it will respond differently. But either way, gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. I forgot to talk about my side flower bed before I started cleaning it. This also has daylilies and, as you can see, irises, bearded irises that will be trimmed back for the season. I've got some tulips in there, some daffodils. I'll be putting some hyacinth bulbs in. This insidious viney weed has to go. There's some other weeds in there I need to clean out. And then the remnants of this season's growth to keep it looking nice. And maybe I'll try to find some perennials to put over here too, and not just in the front. We'll see. I have spent a good portion of my time cleaning up the flower beds, getting up all of the fallen leaves from the daylilies and from the bearded irises. I did pull up my sweet potato vine. They weren't doing what I wanted them to do. They weren't vining as well as I wanted them to vine. And they're annuals anyway, so I didn't feel bad about pulling them up. And I did put in the autumn fire sedum here in the front. And while they will be covered for a good portion of the summer, they will add excellent color when it comes to the fall. So I'm glad I put them there. And I'm going to go see if I can stock the big box store where I got these and see if I can get some more. And then here in the back, I put the thundercrop sedum, which is supposed to spread and get about a foot tall. So it'll actually take over a good portion of this space back here. It'll take over a good portion. That's an annual. Those were Gerbera daisies. So if it spreads out into this space and takes over next year, that's fine as well. So the salvia that I had, the salvia that I rescued, I was actually able to put one down in there, and I put one on this side. So next spring and summer, definitely have some additional color in this flower bed. This is my newest hydrangea addition. This is a fire and ice paniculata. I think I pronounced that correctly. Hydrangea. Now there are so many varieties of hydrangeas. So many. That over there is a firelight. Nope, that's wrong. That over there is a limelight hydrangea, and it gets 6 to 8 feet tall. This is an old school hydrangea. I believe it's called a Nico blue, and its flowers, the color of its flowers, is actually impacted by the acidity or basic nature of the soil. That's the old school kind. This one is kind of in between. It is not affected by the acidity or the basic nature of the soil, but it stands up to sunlight better than the old school, more like this one over here. It is super important to research what type of plant you're buying and how big it's going to get and where it should best be placed. This one likes morning sunshine and afternoon shade, so it's perfect for the north side of my house. It only gets about 4 feet tall, again, perfect for its location. The limelight hydrangea will get 6 to 8 feet. The Nico blue, usually they range between 4 and 5 feet with pruning. I don't know if you can see this, but this is the soil that I have in my yard. It's rocky clay, like these rocks just came up while I was digging up this spot. So I dug up the spot, I put in some garden soil, and I put in some slow release fertilizer, should release over the next 2 months. So as the plant is settling in and putting in roots before winter, it will have plenty of food to grow and come back next spring. The great thing about fire and ice, it is actually supposed to display 3 separate colors over its blooming season. White, like a whitish green, like the limelight in the spring. And then in the summer, it's supposed to turn pink, like this. And then in the fall, it's supposed to turn a deeper pink, almost maroon type color. So I'm excited to see what kind of color we get from this gorgeous, gorgeous shrub. Just planted it, about to water it in, get it settled in its new home, and I'm excited to see what it gives me next season. Well, really, next spring. One of the things you always want to do when you are transplanting any plant, if it's a shrub, fruit tree, flowering tree, shade tree, annuals or perennials in your flower garden, fruits or vegetables, in your edibles garden, herbs, it doesn't matter. You always want to make sure you water in well after you put in a new plant. It will help the plant settle in. Of course, your plant just came from its home and is going to a new home. Anybody can tell you after traveling, you're going to be a little bit thirsty. So is your plant. Watering in well will also help push out any air bubbles or air pockets that didn't get settled when you were putting in your plant. Now for me, this is going to take a little longer because I do have some clay soil around the top of the plant. As you can see, there's water puddling there. That is not because the plant is so well watered. That's the nature of clay soil. That's why some plants don't do well in clay soil, because they don't like wet feet. And clay soil holds on to water very, very well. Get this plant settled so that its roots can grow in strong over the next couple months. It'll sleep during the winter and be ready to show off in the spring. And we can see that this OG hydrangea is the flowers are starting to dry up. They were blue over the summer and they're starting to dry, and they are gorgeous. But you can also tell that it's being a really warm fall because it's starting to set new flowers, which is amazing. It doesn't usually do this, or this one doesn't usually do this in the fall, but it's starting to set new flowers. So I'm very, very excited about this second blush, this second bloom on this hydrangea. That is it for today. The planting and transplanting and garden cleanup and getting things together for the fall. I wish I could tell you that I am done planting things for the fall, but I'm sure that in my travels and passing by nurseries and stopping by stores, that I will see some more things on the sale rack and in the manager special bin that I can put in my garden in hopes to beautify my spring and summer next year. And if that happens and I get it at a good price, that's what's going to happen. Do I usually have space or know where I'm going to put stuff before I buy it? No. Usually when I buy a plant, even when I rescue it, I have no idea where I'm going to put it. I just figure that out when I get home. As always, if you like what I'm doing, if you like to see what I'm doing, if you want to keep up on projects that I've got going on and experiments as well, hit like, hit subscribe, hit notification so you know when I have new content. Thank you so much for stopping by. Have a great day, and I will see you around the garden.